In the last class, we were talking something about projects. We saw about the management structures. As in, we just went or we recollected from what we had done, what this management structures is all about. We saw that there is this top level management that sets goals, and the lowest level is the ones who are the people who are actually going to execute the work. So project management is basically, like it is based on the outlook of the people. I was looking at, and I was just reading an article on project management, and they were talking about how project management was seen in the pyramids. It was seen in Taj Mahal, for instance, and all these places where there was one architect. The person who gave the goal, he was the king. He told, I want a monument for my wife. So this is just that, he has a goal, he sets his vision, and probably he didn't give any constraint on the budget, but then time would have been a constraint. So this is how the projects were run. Like, the top management says something, and the people ensure that it is being it's coming to success, to be successful. And today, if you see, I was also I was reading about this arbitration some time ago. So they were talking about how they, even now in business schools, they use some of the works. I'm forgetting the person who wrote it. He's a Chinese major, very old. This is also from history. It's called Art of War. So he says, if suppose you want to take an empire, don't go and do anything in small scale. Go and do it fully. Go catch a regiment fully. Set fire to people, make them afraid, so that the moment they know you are coming, half the resistance is gone. So now today what they are doing is, even in arbitration and all these things, they are saying don't go for anything in part. Frighten the other person in such a way that you will definitely do it. So you will also you can also think, if suppose you are going to enter into the business, how is it that is it going to be possible that you are going to start your own telecom company and say that you are immediately going to be successful in today's date, for instance? So in the same way, even now when you go into your construction field, I know many of you are planning to go into your own, to have your own business and all this. So please remember, you're going to fight people who are very ruthless. So what do you think is going to be that which is going to set you apart from any other person? So this is something which I want you to think about today, because we have been talking about so many skills. For example, how to manage time, how we can manage costs, and probably one of the things which we didn't talk much about was how to manage quality. Did we talk much about quality? We didn't talk much of quality. We at the most would have told quality is done by using some method statements. So this is the only thing which we spoke about. In any case, so these are all things which we have talked about, but these are things which you are going to use. How you are going to use is what is going to set you apart from any other person. So we know that project, it's a collective effort. A construction activity itself is a project, okay, because it's a planned undertaking. It is having a start time, it is having a finish time. How many of you are going to start a construction company which is going to start a work and say there's no finish time? I'm sure none of you would. If you do that, you're not going to get money. If you don't get money, you're not making profits. And please remember, civil engineering projects and civil engineer contractor works only for profits. I want you to work only for profits, because I am a EPC contractor at heart. I don't believe in doing social service. Okay, even if you do for a social service project, I'm sure you will try to make a little money at least. People never do anything for loss. Then we were talking about this project management skills, body of knowledge. This has been something which has been endorsed by this agency. Okay, so if suppose you're going to follow this, we always want a successful closeout. Today, as I told earlier, I'm going to speak about the knowledge areas. This is something which you've already seen. Now, what I want you to do is, I just want you to please observe this video. Have you, I don't remember showing to this class this particular equipment. This is a wagon tippler. This wagon tippler is used to transfer material from, say, coal. I mean, like, this is part of a coal handling plant, or it's basically a material handling structure. So limestone, iron ore, or any other material which you see in these open wagons which are being taken on the railway lines, they can be unloaded from the wagon very efficiently and very quickly. Please see this in operation, and when you're watching it, see what are the things you probably will require to construct this, or if you are in charge of the civil works for this, what are the things you'll have to do. The this bringing the railway wagon is called sidearm charger. Can you see it is having a special arrangement of a toothed rail where it can, like where it gets the tactile force. This works with hydraulic motors. This equipment, of course, is from the mechanical. They are going to give you the loads, they are going to give you the requirements, and also the tolerance for how much error is acceptable. Can you see the wagon is entirely being turned or tippled in the background? The entire wagon has been lifted up, and the coal is being dumped into a is there on the side. So you will have an underground hopper which can take all this coal, which can accommodate. Anyway, now once this is done, the entire process gets repeated over and over again till the entire wagon is unloaded. So I want you to just think about all the things which would have gone into this project or into this construction of this one item. Initially, you will have to, the wagon tipper is a thing which handles railway. So you will be having to get permissions from RTSO, the railway agency which standardizes designs. So after you get their approvals, so first of course you have to get a project. That is point number one. Once it, let us say that this is again an EPC project, you got it. So then first thing you have to do, you have to get a permission from the railways, which is currently not very difficult. It is quite easy to get a railway approval. So once you get a railway approval, you will go for this make of that wagon tippler. So who makes this wagon tippler? There are quite a few agencies that make it. So you'll go to them and say, this is the specification, I want it. And you don't have to worry much. This is much like an item which you buy off the shelf, because already RDSO has given the rules as to how this tippler should be. So you just have to go to a place, maybe argue the most about the price, and then you get all of this. You may have to assemble this. This becomes a mechanical item of work, and also there is an electrical part of this. Can you imagine how much power would be required to operate all the hydraulic equipment to tipple this wagon? So that is a lot of that is indeed a lot of work. And there is also another part which is called the instrumentation part. What is this instrumentation part? When this wagon tippler is operating, the conveyor belt which is there should take the material out. Otherwise, the system is going to fail. In the sense that only if suppose as the coal is dumped into the wagon, I mean the chute, the coal has to go out. Otherwise, you'll have an overflow. So all this is interlocked. That means if the conveyor is working, then only they'll start the wagon tippling operation. In fact, there are a lot of safety features in a conveyor belt. Like, if suppose somebody's hand goes into the machine or something, they have a pull cord, which is just pull and the entire system will come to a standstill. So all this is done by an instrumentation team. Instrumentation team gives input to electrical, and then electrical will say these are the chutes we require, these are the switches which will come, the switch boards which will come. So these are the facilities which you have to provide. All this input comes to civil. Then the entire wagon tippler has, as we told, as an underground portion. how much coal is to be stored in that chute. That will be told by mechanical. The design of the hopper is the part of civil engineers. However, the sizing, and then there is something called the liners, because this is a very hard material which falls on the concrete, the concrete will chip off. So to prevent that, they have liners. So all this and how the liners are fixed will be told to civil engineers, and then only you will be able to start your civil design. You make your drawings in the engineering office, and then this is the area where our office was involved, where we get all this input. We will get the input at the last minute, and then we will be asked to send the drawings. First they'll say you send only the excavation drawing, don't worry about anything else. Then they'll say, why don't you give the benches? So this is how it will work in an office. If you are going to site, I'll appreciate your problem. You will say, how am I going to just make a cut? If I just make a cut and something goes wrong, you are going to say that it's all my fault. So you see, this sort of thing will always come in a site. How are we going to adjust as civil engineers between each other? Are we going to standardize the work, or what are we going to do? Okay. So anyway, so these are the key areas which we talked about. I'll just speak on these lines using this Wagon Tippler as an example. So we talked about so many disciplines being there. So project integration, which is the first thing in this slide, you would have now got an idea as to what project integration is. So many disciplines are there, so many disciplines are going to talk. How you're going to talk is a very important skill, because if you're going to go and step on everybody's toes, then you are not going to get any answer. This is plain and simple. In the sense, what do I mean by this? If you go and say electrical, because you didn't give, work is going to stop. You are going to find that you are in a very big trouble, because this is a lot of human aspect is involved in this. The moment you start to pinpoint fingers at others, people are not going to cooperate with you in the long run. So when you'll always have to remember, as a civil engineer, or whether you're in the design or whether you're in the field, you will be the first person in the field, you will be the last person to get the input, and you will be the first person to make the delivery. Do you agree with me? Can you think of this? This Wagon Tippler has to be constructed. When will you get the loads of the Wagon Tippler? Only after the procurement team finalizes on a vendor. Only if you tell, I am going to go with you, they are going to give the loads. Till then you don't have the loads. Only if the design office, the civil engineering design office, gives you, the civil engineer, a drawing, you will be able to start work. Can you work on a mechanical drawing in site? Can you think of working with a mechanical drawing in site? You just cannot. You may need that mechanical engineering drawing to understand what is going to come, but you cannot do it. So this is called project integration. So many aspects are there. All of this has to come together, and then only you are going to see that Wagon Tippler which you saw in that video. So there is the second thing, which is called as project scope management. What do we mean by scope management? You should know what you are going to do. You are going to do a Wagon Tippler. What are you going to do for the Wagon Tippler? So there will be a list. You will have to do the electrical work, you will have to do the hydraulics work, you may have to do the instrumentation and control system. Anything over and above this, if it is asked, it becomes a scope change. So where is the scope defined? Where is the project scope defined? It is there in your contract document. The tender will say what they want. The contract document is what is signed and agreed. You say, this is what I am going to provide. From the tender document, there is always a chance, or you can always make a pre-bid query, you can always make a variation. But once you sign the contract, that makes the scope very clear. So you cannot change the scope once the scope is defined. So once there's a change in scope, it's very good for an EPC contractor, in the sense that he can ask for a variation. The vice versa is also possible. If you go and say there is going to be a scope change, you are going to be in trouble. They'll say, okay, we will cut about 30% of your fees, or 30% of the project cost. Something like that can happen. So project cost management, this is what we are talking about, where we say where money should come, when money should be used. Are you going to use it when the US dollar is going to be the minimum or maximum? How we are going to maximize your profit? When because when you spend money is more important than, and when, and also where. Today, for instance, you can buy a lot of things on Flipkart much cheaper, right? So it becomes like where you buy it. Now today, if that $1 billion sale or something is there, I'm sure you're going to make more profit. Am I right? So this is what we mean by when and where. Time management, again, all your network diagrams help in time management. Quality management is something which is actually very much lacking in Indian systems altogether. Indians are very good in making things. Indians have very good brains. However, the only place where Indians actually fail is in quality. Okay, I am very sad to tell that quality. We compromise quality right from the day the child goes to school. So we say, okay, if suppose we just let a child take leave, if I let my son take leave as he likes, okay, and expect that he still gets first rank. If I go and think about it in those lines, what is going to be the quality? So this is a reality which you are going to face now. Today in India, people are so bent upon this, this cost management, item number 3, that we are not looking at quality. We are just not looking at quality, okay? Because I still remember when Tata brought out its car, when you wind the window, the lever will come off in your hand. Okay, so this is the thing. So when I asked one of the Tata Motors persons, he told, we are truck manufacturers. We are so used to making a truck that we are just now entering into the passenger car segment. We don't know what the expectation of our passengers. Literally, that was what was the meaning. From your side, quality usually how is quality managed in a site? You'll have method statements. They'll say, to do concreting, you do step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you follow all of them, the quality should be there to a large extent. Okay, and so every organization which you go will have its own quality and safety policy. So which overall it will all match to what is there in your code book, like say what IS 456 says, or whatever is the other relevant code. Only those will be coming into the picture. So this is how quality is actually supposed to be done, where you have a method statement and you follow it. If you don't follow it, of course, if you follow it, you will incur more costs. Definitely the cost of supervision is more. Definitely the other things are more. However, if you don't follow it, quality is going to suffer. Next is the project HR management or human resource management. About this, I am not going to speak much. And communication, we spoke. There should be a communication protocol. There should be a route through which all messages should go. I cannot tell that, if I'm going to give out an assignment, I cannot say I gave XYZ the news and it should have come to all. There should be a proper protocol, like either using the FFCS system, or I ensure that everybody gets a mail, or probably everybody gets an SMS, or we can all have a WhatsApp group which is agreed upon as the route of passing messages. So this is an example of communication management in our classroom. There is a protocol who originates, because I cannot say tomorrow university is a holiday. If I say that, do you think it is acceptable? I am a university staff, but does it mean that I have the right to declare a holiday? I don't have. So in the same way, communication in an organization is fixed. Only certain people have the right, or only certain people have the authority to take certain decisions. So only when the communication is through them, it is considered as a valid communication. Then we have risk management. Risk is in many ways, where you take a gamble. You say that I'll try to do these activities, try to make the work faster. You may win in it, you may not win in that. So this is a risk or a chance which you take. Okay, and finally procurement. We spoke a lot about procurement, that it should be the cheapest. It should not have any chance of pilferage. The procurement should be such in the quantity, it should be bought in such a quantity that the price will also be less and wastage also will not be there. So how this is all being done will be done by the procurement team. So all of this is considered as key areas of project management, management's body of knowledge. These are all areas of knowledge which, if a company has, it will be successful in its operation. Please remember that you will have to have a system where you can integrate various divisions, where people think differently. You should be able to identify what is your scope or what your client wants and then do it. There was a very nice thing, the cartoon, in which a person was told about something. So he visualizes, he tells it to somebody, and finally they make something else. The person actually wanted a swing. So what the client actually required was, he wanted a tire which was suspended from a rope. I think, I hope some of you have seen this cartoon. So we try to make things very complicated, where the scope is not clearly communicated. So the other things, you please think about it, and I hope that it will make a lot of sense when you start your career. I have a video. I don't know whether it's going to play because there's no internet now. I don't think internet is there, but it is basically a part-time video which I had. So anyway, I'll just stop my lecture now.